Hello and welcome to ThePrint. I am Neelam Pandey. Well, Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee has launched a so-called language movement. Will this Bengali Asmita card help her garner support and give her another term in 2026? Well, this is the question that we have taken up for discussion for this episode of Political Adda. And joining me is senior journalist and author Snigdhendu Bhattacharya. He has also authored a number of books, with one of them being Lalgarh and the Legend of Kishanji, and another one on Bengal, which is called Mission Bengal, a Saffron Experiment. We also have my colleague Sourav Barman, who will also be asking a number of questions. Well, without much ado, let's start today's episode. Welcome to ThePrint, sir. My first question to you is, what do you make of this language movement? Why do you think the chief minister has started talking about it? We are hearing a number of her statements. What do you make of it?
See, uh, what is happening, first of all, what has been happening in different BJP ruled states in the name of uh, anti-migrant drive or citizenship screening, by whatever name we call it. What has been happening is an entirely arbitrary exercise is being carried out by the police in those states. And the arbitrariness of these actions have become evident from how genuine bona fide Indian citizens, Indian nationals, had been pushed out of India into Bangladesh, and subsequently some of them have been brought back. A few dozen in Assam have been brought back after being pushed out, all Bengali speaking Muslims. From West Bengal in June, 7 persons had been deported by Maharashtra police. They were subsequently brought back after West Bengal government intervened and spoke to the BSF and produced all their identity documents proving their nationality. And then, just just in about a week of this massive thing of seven migrants being migrant workers being pushed out and brought back, seven more was pushed out of India by Delhi police, and they are yet to be brought. They are still in Bangladesh. They have released a video from Bangladesh. There are three women and two minors and one and two men in that group. Two of the family members, the parents of two women, Sonali Khatun and the Sweetie Bibi, they have approached Calcutta High Court. And some of the family members had also approached Delhi High Court, who were living in Delhi because they were being picked up from Delhi. So there was a miscommunication. So two court cases came up, and one of them is going to be withdrawn certainly. But the West Bengal government has shown a documentary evidence that these two persons, they are Bengal citizens, they are Birbhum citizens, they are natives of Bengal. They are not only their fathers, their grandfathers have names on the voter list, and they have land documents in their own names. And these people were pushed out of India without even carrying out an inquiry, without any field visit to Birbhum. And these people are still in Bangladesh. And just now, as I speak to you a few hours ago, another complaint has been filed. Another person called Amir Khan, who is from Murshidabad, who went to work in Rajasthan 2 months ago. He went missing. His family members lost all contacts with him. And yesterday, a video emerged of Amir Khan in Bangladesh. From Bangladesh, he has been pleading with folded hands that please bring me back. And the West Bengal government ascertains that they have verified his documents. He is an Indian citizen. So the Rajasthan police pushed him back, pushed him out of India, nearly on the basis of suspicion, without even inquiring with the state government, and without producing them in any court. They haven't been booked under Foreigners Act or other acts that are applied to illegal immigrants. For So they are completely avoiding the process of involving the judiciary, and they're just doing it themselves when the police are playing the jury. So it's a gross human rights violation happening, targeting primarily Bengali speaking Muslims. Now, that had been going on since April, but the Trinamool Congress had not really voiced their concerns in a very loud manner for nearly about 2 months uh, until Hindus started suffering the same. So they were speaking. Rajya Sabha MP, Samidul Islam, and others, Mahua Maitra, Krishnanagar MP, they have been raising the issue, but the party was not making it a big issue at that time. But since June, the end of June and beginning of July, there have been several instances that came up where Hindus have also faced similar action, especially in Maharashtra, some Motua families. Uh, some of them are actually voters of Shantanu Thakur, the junior minister for shipping, and there have been some instances of from Odisha also, where some Bengali migrants were also detained. So from the time some Bengali Hindu migrants, so from the time these Hindus also started suffering these detentions, the Trinamool has upped the ante and pitched this as a anti-Bengali drive unleashed by the BJP all over India. That has become their whole plan. What BJP will try to do, they will try to ensure that Hindus do not face such kind of detention. They will probably instruct their governments in different states that do not harass Hindus, so that they will try to say that we are only trying to drive away the
No,
Bangladeshi
if I may
Muslims.
come, you said the TMC was largely quiet when primarily Bengali Muslims were being picked up in certain states. But when this also started targeting Bengali Hindus, the TMC suddenly became very politically active. So why do you think that was the case? Why was the TMC quiet when Muslims were being subjected to such harassment, considering Bengal has a large Muslim population and they completely, I mean, backed the Trinamool. They have backed the Trinamool in the last few elections.
That's because there are two aspects to this strategy, or what response, whatever we call it. One is that TMC has become kind of sure that as long as BJP is the main opposition in Bengal and the BJP is a big power nationally, Muslims will stay with the TMC simply out of fear of persecution. So they have kind of taken the Muslim votes for granted, especially when it comes to assembly election. Because Muslims in 2021 voted for TMC in Malda and Murshidabad, mostly out seeking protection. In the Lok Sabha election, we could see that some Muslims, a large section of Muslims, still prefer Congress over the TMC. But they change their preference when it's the assembly election, when it's the question of protecting the government to ensure that the BJP doesn't come to power in Bengal. So this fear psychosis among Muslims has kind of given the Trinamool an edge in the political bargaining, and they're using this upper hand. So this is one part of the strategy. The other thing is that the TMC was thinking that it's a big trap of the BJP, that if TMC starts making a huge hue and cry about it, then BJP will push their polarizing agenda. Uh, that is, see, look how concerned the TMC is when we are driving out Bangladeshi Muslims. So TMC was considering it as a trap laid by the BJP, asking the TMC to respond so that they can polarize on communal line. Where so TMC had at that time decided not to uh, highlight the issue too much, so much so that communal polarization becomes the uh, driving issue, the driving narrative above the state's welfare politics, the welfare policies, and the beneficiary linked transactional politics that they pursue. So that was part of their agenda. But the moment Hindus also start getting panicked, that moment it becomes difficult for BJP to pursue communal polarization.
Mhm.
So the basic need for BJP to polarize on communal line is to assure Hindus that they have nothing to be panicked. And so TMC was probably waiting for that opportunity. Uh, and the moment some of these Hindus started facing these harassments, I mean, nursing notice came from Assam to Kuchbihar residents. A couple of incidents were there, and some harassments came from was reported from Maharashtra, Odisha, and Uttar Pradesh. So, and these issues were then magnified and widely uh, publicized to show that how Bengali Hindus are not safe either.
Right,
So
Mr.
from
Pran.
that side,
Yeah, just to add to this, I wanted to understand, how is this new Asmita push different from the previous attempt at, let's say, Bengal sub nationalism by the TMC? If we have to differentiate between what's happening now and what has happened in the past, what would you say is different?
no, I don't see any difference. It's just the same thing going on since 2017 at
Okay.
different scale. Sometimes the scale goes down a bit, but Mamata Banerjee has always tried to ensure that while she is speaking of Bengali, Bangali Gaurav, Bengali will work for Lasmita. So, uh, from the time she's trying to highlight Bangali Gaurav and Ba- it's a counter narrative to uh, Hindu Khatre mein hai that Bangali ki pore ache,
Hmm.
Bengali Bangali Khatre.
We saw in the past that whenever she came up with this narrative, a large section of the Bengali intelligentsia, the Bengali film industry also came out on the streets and backed her, and they mounted what they called was a cultural resistance to the fear of BJP taking over Bengal. You think there will be a replay of that this time, or you think the civil society is going to stay away from the TMC?
See, there is a cultural resistance. There is a cultural resistance because the kind of Hinduism that the BJP pushes is not is is not something that Bengali Hindus are compatible with. So there is cultural resistance, but electorally its impact will remain largely limited to Kolkata and its neighboring districts. The further a place is from Kolkata, the less is the intensity of this Bangali Gaurav, because this Bangalis Gaurav is also mostly cultural pride that has been enjoyed by mostly the so-called Bhadralok community or the educated, English educated upper caste affluent class. So this uh, definitely can influence a significant part of Bengal, and some a section of Bengalis are really sensitive about culture. That is an issue there. But at the same time, uh, while these resistances we can understand will take place, they will come up and uh, at the same time, Mamata Banerjee is also trying to uh, ensure that her party never preaches hatred against any community. So while there are Bengali pressure groups like Bengali ethnic uh, rights oriented groups like Bangla Popko and others who have been spewing venom against Hindi speaking people the way the Hindu nationalists spew venom on Muslims. So Trinamool, Mamata Banerjee is trying to ensure that Trinamool doesn't do the same because she is always preaching inclusivity. And it is because she has been preaching inclusivity that even in these times when Bangla Popko and other organizations and many leftists also actually are criticizing the imposition of Hindi and imposition of North Indian culture, Trinamool is quietly working with its Hindi cell. and they have started a Hindi university. And the government had initially decided to make Bengali mandatory for the civil service examinations and the knowledge of Bengali or Nepali, Nepali for our northern hills. Uh, then they withdrew to allow the exams to be taken in Hindi. So the Trinamool is trying to ensure that the, it is because they are sure that BJP's politics will force Muslims to stand by TMC. So taking the Muslim consolidation, a pro-government Muslim consolidation for granted, TMC is trying to resist every other kind of polarization. So that the BJP fails to polarize any group. Neither the Hindi speakers, TMC is trying its best to ensure that it also gets the larger majority of Hindi speakers votes in Bengal, which
Just
shouldn't be
to
less
add,
than.
Mr. Bhattacharya, you spoke about the BJP. How is the BJP sort of responding to so-called this Bengali Pride campaign? How are they responding to it?
Because they are trying to project a different identity of Bengal.
Hmm.
The Bengali identity that parties like Trinamool Congress or the left parties or the Congress they project is a secular Bengali identity where the language is the binding factor. This includes Hindu, Muslims, Christians, everyone. So it's a language based identity. But BJP wants to portray Bengali as a Hindu centric identity.
Hmm.
So, and they try to portray Muslims as Bangladesh. They always say that during the time of partition, West Bengal was created as a homeland for Hindus, and West Bengal must be restored into a homeland of Hindu Bengalis. That's what the BJP preaches. So they that's why if you notice that over the past few years, since past 4 5 years, I think, since 2018 or some 19 maybe, the BJP has been trying to change the celebration of mother language. We usually celebrate it on 21 February, 21 February, because it was on that day in 1952 that the language movement in Bangladesh saw police repression and the students were killed in Pak armies that time is called East Pakistan. So students were killed in firing. Then at Bangladesh's request, the United Nations announced 21st February as International Day for Mother Tongue, and Bengalis take additional pride in it because it this 21 February global celebration came out of an incident in Bengal, though in Eastern Bengal, but for Bengali language after all. So 21st February is a big event in West Bengal also. It has been a big event in West Bengal, the big celebration. But BJP tries to portray an incident of uh, the in 2019 or 2020, the death of two students, two activists, LGBT activists actually, in a incident of police firing in Dinajpur district in northern West Bengal. So what happened that incident? See how they twists to narratives. In a school, the students were demanding that they needed teachers for science and humanities. There were no teachers. But after playing for a long time, they got two teachers. One was to teach Sanskrit, the other was to teach Urdu. So the students were protesting that we were we needed teachers in maths and we needed teachers in humanities, but we got teachers in Sanskrit and Urdu. They were protesting. The protest at some moment, someone fired. The police denied that they fired. The protesters said no, police fired and two students fired. The BJP says that is the real Bengali language day or Bengal because it marked the event of death of two Hindus fighting against Urdu imposition. Now, after hearing the whole story, do you think it was a case of Urdu imposition in Bengal? But that's why what BJP has been campaigning on over the past 5, 6 years. And they have been saying that we should discard 21st February as Bengali Language Day. Our Bengali Language Day is the day when these two teenagers got killed fighting Urdu imposition. So, in this way, the BJP has been trying to project a different Bengali identity altogether. Say that Muslims are not Bengali, Hindus are Bengali, Muslims are Bangladesh. This is why the BJP was trying to say that we are driving out Bangladeshis. Bengalis have nothing to do.
And the BJP is clearly faltering on the identity, Bengali identity and cultural front. But the fact is, Mamata Banerjee has been in power since 2011, and her administration is currently beset with many serious allegations of corruption. Many of her former ministers, people who worked very closely with her, they are in jail. There is a case against her nephew, the National General Secretary of TMC, Abhishek Banerjee, as well. So, do you think all these issues are also finding some resonance among the public? In a
These
term,
these issues ought to, because I mean corruption is an undeniably big issue during TMC's reign rule. Bengal has not seen corruption in the scale in which it has unfolded over the past 13, 14 years. Then it is unprecedented. So corruption is the big issue. And at the same time, we also have to think that normalization of corruption is also an issue. It's social issue. Corruption is a political issue and can become an electoral issue. Normalization of corruption is also a political. So, how much impact corruption will ultimately have on electoral uh, question, on electoral equations, remains to be seen. There are strong anti-incumbencies in this. There is no denial. Uh, because, of course, the government has already ruled for nearly 1.5 decades, and discipline is a problem in TMC, corruption is a problem in TMC. But at the grassroots level, there are many people who are active. But at the same time, there are many people who are beneficiaries. So, in a time when the society, when our relationships are becoming transactional, uh, this Trinamool kind of transactional politics has some appeal. So, there is a visible anti-incumbents. There is also a visible pro TMC support. I mean, more of pro Mamata Banerjee support. It is difficult to say, but in the past 6, 7 years, we can see the TMC has always maintained a 4 to 8% lead over the BJP. In 2019, we saw the highest polarization, highest anti-TMC polarization or consolidation when the BJP's vote share rose to nearly 40%, but TMC still had over 43%. And since then, the TMC has increased the gap. In 2021, 2024, the gap between TMC and BJP has been wider than 2019. So TMC has recovered a lot of space from BJP actually, from the western side, and now also in the northern Bengal, we can see the TMC is eating into the BJP's base. They have incorporated a senior Congress leader there, Shankar Malakar in Naxalbari area. They have been taken former Union Minister BJP's John Barla in Alipurduar. They are eating into some of BJP's leaders in Kuch Bihar also. So TMC is recovering his lost grounds in northern West Bengal, some parts of southern Bengal, but at the same time, BJP is gaining ground in some of the places where TMC was strong, like in and around Kolkata. So TMC is losing some of its popularity along the urban sector. In the urban sector, there was it was the scene was quite unique. In the rural sector, the BJP was strong very strong. BJP was strongest in the rural sectors away from Kolkata. And TMC's heartland has been the in and around Kolkata, South Bengal. And but over the past 3 4 years, we can see that TMC is gradually eating into some of BJP's grounds in northern Bengal and southwestern Bengal, while there has been growing disenchantment against TMC in these urban pockets, some urban pockets. Now, these urban pockets had some resistance against the BJP because of the cultural factor, and so the left parties, whatever vote they retained was mostly in some urban pockets, in these urban towns like Chandanagar, Chulchura, Uttarpara, places near Kolkata, where they retained at some 8 to 9% votes. In rural belt, the left vote was like 2 3%. So now it remains to be seen who benefits from this urban disenchantment, this urban disappointment with TMC, with corruption, with lack of jobs. Who benefits? Who gains? Who does the left manages to win over those votes, or they go to the BJP? Uh, they kind of overlook the cultural differences and go for the economic boost that the BJP promises, or they kind of reject both TMC and BJP and start leaning towards the left. It remains to be seen. As of now, the left hasn't do anything promising, but there is growing disappointment with both TMC and BJP also. The situation is kind of it's a mobile situation. What I would say, it's still something is still forming, and we don't know what shape it will take.
So one of our viewers, they have asked a question, and in a way, they are putting the entire controversy in regionalism versus nationalism. I would like to add to that what is unfolding. If you look at 2016 elections, 2021 elections, BJP has been focusing on issues related to the nation, right? Whereas in many assembly elections, the opposition has always focused on local elections to sort of counter the BJP. What do you see will happen as far as the West Bengal elections are concerned, keeping this issue in mind?
See, Bengalis have remained regionalist for a long, long time. Even during the Mughal era, we have seen documents that show that this is a land which is difficult to rule. So Bengal has for years shown anti-Delhi sentiments. Whoever the Delhi used to send to Bengal to look after Bengal, he used to rebel and take charge. And so it has from the Mughal era, in the Mughal era, the Pathans rebelled and made their own Bengal, the independent Bengal Sultanate. And even during the British period, Bengal remained a boiling space. And even after after independence, Congress, one of the places from where Congress started weakening was Bengal. The left rose, and with the left rise, Bengal again took this strong anti-Congress, anti-Delhi, and even in Congress, even during that time, this Subhash Bose versus Gandhi, this kind of regionalist approach. Though Subhash was a staunch nationalist in every sense, but there was a kind of regional pride, Bengali nationalist pride that always from Deshbandhu Chittaranjan Das to Bipin Chandra Pal and with Subhash Bose, everybody played. So this Bengali pride and Bengali sentiment and kind of sense of superiority, I would say, it has always existed there. And if we look at formation of India, and if we look at the debates that formed Indian nationalism, the inclusive Indian nationalism during the 1920s and starting with 1910s and basically taking shape in the 1920s or 1930s, that nationalism always was based on federalism from Chittaranjan Das to Bipin Chandra Pal to even Lala Lajpat Rai and even in some cases Tilak. They have always spoken of merging the identities, the regional identities, into one broad Indian national identity without giving up the regional uniqueness. Each nation, each nationality, each ethnic group remains as they are, and they come together to form a nationality. Chittaranjan Das described it as multinationality. He described Marathi, uh, Bengali, Tamil as nationality, and Indian identity as multinationality. So this federalism has been at the core of Indian inclusive nationalism. And what we have seen during this BJP's rule is that federalism has come under attack, and there has been a attempt at a strong and persistent attempt at centralization. So TMC is trying to use this as issue as Bengal's federal independence. They're trying to use that issue. I am not sure how effective that is as an electoral issue in rural pockets where people have other more concerning issues than federal structure. Uh, so, at the grassroots level, elections are often decided not on the broader or major issues, but at booth level management. And it is there that the TMC is already working hard. Of course, the broad narrative will be there that the BJP is, but this will also depend on how the BJP ruled states deal with Hindu migrants, Hindu Bengali migrants in the coming days. If there are more incidents of Hindu Bengali migrants being harassed in BJP ruled states, then the TMC's Bengali pride, Bangali Akranto, Bangali Bipode, this narrative will gain more currency. But if the BJP ruled governments decide that, well, whenever we detain a Bengali, if we are sure that he is a Hindu, we will immediately let him go. If they decide, and if over time the incidents of harassments of Hindus reduce and it becomes only a harassment of Muslims, then the BJP make it might turn it into again Bengali versus Bangladeshi, identifying Muslims as Bangladeshi, that polarization. So it remains a lot on not only what happens in Bengal, but also happens in what happens in other states, what happens in the Supreme Court on on July 28 over the SIR petitions, how the Bihar experiment with SIR happens, how Bihar opposition parties deal with the situation in the court and on the grounds. So a lot of these developments, how Assam will, whether more North Bengal residents keep receiving NRC notice from Assam foreign tribunals, many of these things are there, which will determine the future course. Right now, uh, it's difficult to figure out who is in an advantageous position, except for that TMC has been in an advantageous position over the past 3 4 years. But we never know. Election games can change in 3 4 months, and 3 4 months are a long time for big elections.
No, just wanted to understand, do you also sense any erosion in the Trinamool Congress's female vote bank, considering, we have seen one incident after another from Sandesh Khali, there were allegations of sexual violence against women. Then we had the
RG ko.
RG Kaur rape and murder case. Very recently, we had the incident at South Calcutta Law College. In all those incidents, we have some TMC. We have seen the emergence of some TMC connection also. How do you think that will play out among women?
I don't think these incidents will impact the women voters, the TMC, because you see TMC's main women base, female voter base, is among the poor, is among the rural poor and also among the urban poor. But these issues, the Arjikor and this law college incident. These impacts, to my understanding, were limited to an urban class.
Hmm.
And I haven't noticed any significant impact on TNC's rural voter, on rural women votery on regarding these incidents. There are grievances against local level TMC in many cases because of the kind of corruption and the high-handedness that they have to deal with, but not on these.
Mhm.
Right. Well, right. Thank you so much, Mr. Bhattacharya, for your insight, for your analysis. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Sourav. And we will be back with another episode next week.